Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Isabel. I'm a student director for Mind Out Loud. Mind Out Loud is a student-led program, and many of the materials during the workshop are student-generated. The information provided on this platform is for general informational purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or qualified mental health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical or mental health condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard or read on this platform. If you think you may have a medical or mental health emergency, call your doctor or 911 immediately. I'll go ahead and pass it on to Frankie.
Hi guys, I'm Frankie, and joining us for our October workshop today is Minds Over Matter. If at any time questions come up during the presentation, feel free to submit them to the Q&A form that we hope to get to by the end of the hour, and the Q&A form should be in the chat soon. Now we're going to go ahead and turn it over to the students of Mind Over Matter who will be leading the workshop on secrets, safety, and support. What to do when a friend confides in you.
Welcome to Secret, Safety, and Support, What to Do When a Friend Confides with You. My name is Layla Astry, and I'm joined by my co-president, Sarah Roldan, as well as our secretary, Gabrielle Shabirov, and our event planner, Taylor Browning. We are a teen-led nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering our youth through youth mental health, education, awareness, and support. Before we continue, we want to take a moment to share a little bit about who we are and why we do this work.
Okay, so Minds Over Matter LLC is a youth-led nonprofit dedicated to empowering students through mental health awareness, education, and peer support. Our goal is to make conversations about mental health more open and informed and accessible, especially among teens. One of the main ways we do this is through our Minds Over Matter clubs, which are student-run chapters based in schools and communities. These clubs give teens a space to talk about mental health safely and positively, to learn coping skills, support one another, and help reduce stigma on campus. Each club receives guidance and materials from our main organization, but every group makes their program on their own. These student-led discussions They lead student-led discussions, host awareness events, and connect peers with resources, always with support from a student advisor or an adult mentor.
Starting a Minds Over Matter club is simple. Interested students can reach out to us directly through their school's administration. We provide a startup kit, leadership training, and ongoing support to help youth clubs thrive. Our hope is that every club becomes a safe, welcoming community where students can feel heard, supported, and inspired to change. If you are interested in starting a club, feel free to reach out to us after the workshop or go to our website and fill out a form there.
In addition to our school program, Minds Over Matter also coordinates several community-based initiatives that extend our mission beyond the classroom. One of these is our Community Workshop Series, where we partner with local organizations, schools, and youth groups to host open discussions about mental health. These workshops cover topics such as coping strategies, recognizing warning signs, supporting friends in crisis, and reducing stigma. They're designed to bring students, parents, and community members together to learn, share experiences, and build stronger networks of understanding and support. Play therapy toy drives, in which we collect and donate therapeutic play materials to pediatric play therapy centers and child counseling programs. These drives help ensure that therapists and clinicians have access to the tools they need for effective play therapy, supporting children as they process emotions, build confidence, and heal through creative play.
Everything we do at Minds Over Matter comes back to one central goal: creating safe spaces where young people can talk openly, learn how to support one another, and know when it's time to reach out for help. That's exactly what today's session is all about. Today's workshop, Secrets, Safety, and Support, What to Do When a Friend Confides in You, will focus on what to do when a friend shares something painfully or distressing, especially when it involves emotional pain, self-harm, or suicidal thoughts. We'll explore how to respond with empathy, maintain healthy boundaries, and take the right steps to ensure safety for both yourself and your friend. Our goal is to help you leave today feeling more informed, prepared, and confident in supporting others, while also taking care of your own mental well-being.
Next, we just want to address the table of contents and what we're going to be going over today. So we are going to start with an introduction and go into how to understand peer confessions, why they happen, and why they tend to happen more with peers than with adults. Then we're going to talk about the trust, boundaries, and ethical responsibilities that go into a confession like this. Then we are going to talk about how to manage the emotional impact both on the receiving and giving end of one of these confessions. Then we're going to identify risk and learn how to respond with care. And lastly, we're going to talk about seeking help and the available resources online before we close. So I have the privilege of giving it back off to Layla so she can start a reflection question.
So before we go into the presentation, we wanted to start by asking a scenario question that I'm sure many people may have experienced by themselves or have heard other people experience it. So imagine this. A close friend texts you late at night and says, "I don't think I can do this anymore. Sometimes I just want everything to stop." Then they ask you not to tell anyone and say that they just need someone to talk to. What would you do next? A question like this can be very difficult to answer, and it seems like an impossible scenario, but it's one that many teens face today. Some things that many people may wonder during this scenario is, what makes it so hard to know what to do? And why might it feel difficult to ask for help or tell an adult? Wanting to help a friend while also feeling scared of breaking their trust is something that many teens experience. Throughout this workshop, we'll talk about how to respond safely, ethically, and with compassion when something like this happens. Hopefully, by the end of the workshop, you will have a much better idea on how to answer a scenario like this. So now I will be passing it off to Gabrielle to start our introduction.
Okay, so first let's begin with the introduction section. When a friend opens up about their struggles, it can be both meaningful and overwhelming. These moments show deep trust, but they can also leave you wondering on what to say or how to help. In this section, we'll explore what you learned today, as well as why these conversations are incredibly important. So first, let's begin with what you learned today. You'll learn how to recognize when a situation or a confession indicates potential danger, how to support a friend in distress while maintaining appropriate trust and boundaries, what resources are in store for seeking help and making a report, and lastly, how to care for your own mental health while supporting others. Next, let's understand the need for this conversation. So when someone's going through a really tough time, they usually don't go to an adult first. They go to a friend because friends feel safe. You'll understand what it's like to be a teenager right now in a way that some adults don't. That means that the first person that they can talk to can be you. Maybe they say something late at night over a text or drop a small comment that may sound a little bit alarming. And in that moment, it can feel huge, like you don't know what to say or how to handle it. But that's okay. You don't need to be the one that fixes everything. You just need to know what to do next. How you respond, even a single sentence like "I'm here for you," can be the moment that can keep someone alive. This workshop is about giving you the tools to handle those situations safely, compassionately, and confidently. You may not realize it now, but learning how to respond can make you the reason that someone chooses to stay. Next, I'll pass it off to Layla with navigating trust and responsibility.
When someone opens up about suicidal thoughts, it's a huge act of trust. They're sharing something deeply personal because they believe you'll listen and care. But sometimes, being a good friend means doing something uncomfortable, like asking for help. In this section, we'll talk about how to balance trust while keeping your friends safe. Trust is the foundation of friendship. When someone confides in you, it means they see you as safe. But if your friend's life is at risk, keeping that secret isn't true trust. It's danger disguised as loyalty. It's okay to break confidence if your friend's life is at risk. Real trust means caring enough to protect them, even if that means involving an adult. Telling a trusted adult isn't betrayal, it's protection. One thing that's really important while navigating the scenario is to set healthy boundaries. It's easy to feel like it's your job to fix things, but that's too heavy for one person to carry. Healthy boundaries means knowing when to get help. You can show compassion and protect your own emotional health. Saying "I care about you" and "I think we should talk to someone" isn't betrayal, it's courage. It's okay to get help. You don't have to handle this alone. You might worry they'll be mad at you or that you'll lose their trust. It means not keeping them silent. If someone says it's okay and necessary to reach out to an adult, counselor, or call 988. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to take the step. Trust is about caring, boundaries are about protection, and ethics are about doing what's right even when it's hard. Being a true friend means standing beside someone and guiding them to get the help that they need. Now, I will be passing off the presentation to Taylor to talk about managing your own emotional impact.
Thank you, Layla. So, hearing about a friend's pain can take an emotional toll. You may feel anxious, sad, or even guilty, all of which are completely normal reactions. In this section, we'll talk about how to manage your emotions, set healthy boundaries, and practice self-care, while continuing to show compassion and support for your friend. It's okay to be worried about your friend. It's also okay for you to care for yourself. When someone shares their suicidal thoughts, a lot of pressure and weight can be put on the recipient. One may feel guilt by wishing they could do more to help, or worry about breaking their trust by telling someone. One may feel fear or pressure that their friend may hurt themselves again and not be able to stop it. Instead of pushing these emotions away, recognize and accept them. Your emotional response doesn't make you weak or selfish. It will show you care. Supporting a friend starts with understanding your own emotional state. Understand you are not responsible for fixing your friend, meaning do not feel like you can solely make their thoughts go away. Doing this puts intense distress onto yourself. Instead, push your friend to seek that professional help that they need. You can support your friend, but don't feel like you need to replace professionals. In addition, being supportive doesn't mean being available 24/7. It's okay to set limits and communicate what you're emotionally capable of handling. Next slide. Thanks. Supporting someone in a crisis is heavy, and you deserve support too. Talk to someone you trust, a counselor, teacher, parent, or therapist about what you're going through. Try to engage in activities that are emotionally recharging, such as exercise, sleep, or hobbies that you enjoy doing yourself. If you're not in a good mental health space, you will not be able to help in the first place. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to Sarah for Notice, Care, and Act.
Thank you. All right, notice, care, and act, identifying risk and responding with care. This part of the workshop is all about recognizing when a friend might be in real danger and how you can respond in a caring, responsible way. Sometimes our friends drop hints that they're struggling or even thinking about ending their lives, but it's hard to know what's serious and what's not. By the end of this section, you'll know what signs to look for, what to say, and how to help while still protecting yourself emotionally. Recognizing warning signs. It's important to remember that most people who are thinking about suicide or self-harm give off warning signs, even if they're subtle. Look for changes in their moods or behavior, like withdrawing from friends, giving away things they care about, or suddenly acting calm after being very upset. These signs don't always mean someone will hurt themselves. They do mean it's time to reach out or get help. Sometimes it's not just actions, but what they say. Or you can go to the next slide. Sometimes it's not just actions, but it's what they say. If a friend says something like, I can't do this anymore, or everyone would be better off without me, that's a red flag. Even if they say it casually or as a joke, take it seriously. And if they ask you to promise to keep it a secret, pause and ask yourself, is this the kind of secret that could risk their safety? That's your cue to get help. When a friend opens up about something this serious, it can be scary, but the best thing you can do is stay calm and listen. You don't need the perfect words. You can simply say, I'm really glad you told me, and I want to help keep you safe. Avoid promising to keep it a secret if they're in danger. Instead, let them know that you care too much to stay silent. Getting help isn't betrayal, it's protection. Okay. What to say and what not to say. Let's talk about what helps and what hurts. Sometimes we want to cheer our friends up or make them feel better right away. So we say things like, you'll be fine, or it's not that bad. But these can make them feel dismissed or undervalue their emotions. Instead, say things like, you're not alone, or I care about you too much to keep this to myself. These phrases show compassion and make your friends feel heard and supported. All right, balancing care and responsibility. A lot of people feel torn when a friend opens up about self-harm or suicidal thoughts. On one hand, you want to protect your friend's trust. On the other, you know their safety might be at risk. That's an incredibly heavy position to be in. And feeling that conflict doesn't make you a bad friend. It makes you a caring one. The truth is, caring and reporting are not opposites. When you tell an adult or reach out for help, you're not betraying them, you're protecting them. It's okay to feel nervous or even guilty. It's better for your friend to be upset and alive than silent and gone. That's what real loyalty looks like, wanting your friend to be safe enough to get help. All right, so we are going to go into a few scenarios. So supporting someone in crisis is never something you should do alone. Reaching out for help doesn't mean you've broken trust. It just means you're taking the right step to keep your friends safe. In this final section, we'll cover where to turn and how to connect your friends. So we're going to do a little role play on what would you say scenarios. So I have a few sample scenarios on the next slide. For example, the first one is your friend texted you late at night. I don't think I can do this anymore. Please don't tell anyone. I just need you. Scenario 2, a close friend pulls you aside at school and says, I've been cutting myself lately. Promise you won't tell anyone. Now we're going to put ourselves into real life situations that many teens experience. In this activity, I just read a few short scenarios, and I want you to think about your response, how you would respond to this if someone is struggling, especially one of your friends was struggling emotionally or even thinking about suicide. So we're going to talk about kind of the moment you hear this and what you would say to respond to the situation. The goal isn't to fix the problem, but to think about how to respond with empathy and to keep safety in mind. So we're going to give you a few minutes to think, and we are going to go around as a leadership group and give our own responses to these scenarios. So if Layla wants to start with scenario 1, what you would say.
So for scenario 1, the first thing you want to do is assess the severity of the situation, right? So based off what your friend's saying and the fact they're telling you not to tell anyone is a red flag that they're going through something really hard. Because of this red flag, the best thing that you can do is tell an adult that you trust and that you know your friend trusts as well. While this seems like a breach of privacy, it's actually very important to get your friend the help they need. Sometimes when people are in these situations, they don't want to reach out for help because they're worried about how people will perceive them, but it's important to get that help in order to improve and to be able to move on from those thoughts. That's why in this scenario, what I would do is probably contact either, I know like my school has a CAPS counselor, which is like a mental health counselor, and that's someone who I consider to be a trusted adult, or maybe a parent you think is a trusted adult that you know would be safe in this scenario to talk to about this to help your friend get the help they need. So now Sarah's going to talk about what she would do for scenario 2.
Perfect. Thank you. So again, as a reminder, in this scenario, a close friend pulls you aside at school and says, I've been cutting myself lately. Promise you won't tell anyone. So first, I would take a deep breath. It is a really serious moment, and it matters a lot how you respond. So the first thing I would do is stay calm and show that I care. I would say something like, I'm really glad you told me, and that must have been hard to share. This can make them feel safe to open up, and it also doesn't assume that I have all the answers, and it makes me a safe space for them to talk to and that I will listen to them. Next, I would acknowledge their trust. I would tell them, thank you, it means a lot for you to tell me this. I'd want to show them that I'm not judging them, but I'm validating their courage. But another step I would take is not to promise secrecy. It's kind of the hardest part. Even though they asked you to promise to keep it a secret, it is not safe to keep this secret. So I might say, I care about you too much to keep this a secret. I think we need to get you some help so you can be safe. And remember, you are not betraying them, you are protecting them. Real friends help each other stay alive and safe. And then if possible, I would get help. So I would offer to go with them to talk to a trusted adult, like a counselor, teacher, nurse, CAPS counselor, parent. And that way I would give them support and I would go with them. If they refuse, I would still tell an adult myself because safety comes first, even if a friend gets upset at first. And then lastly, I would keep supporting them after. So after help is reached, I would check in and just be a normal friend, letting them know that I'm here for them and keeping showing that I care. So biggest takeaways for that scenario is just don't promise to keep it a secret, get an adult involved, and stay supportive and kind. On the next slide, we have 2 more scenarios, so I'll just read them out, and then we will ask our other leadership to do it. All right, Taylor, I will ask you for scenario 3. Someone in your group chat jokes about wanting a friend to wanting to disappear forever, and everyone laughs, except you notice they haven't been themselves lately. What would you do?
So first, I would assess the situation. Most likely, I would text them privately and not in the main group chat if they believe that them wanting to disappear forever would be a joke to everyone. So I would message them privately and figure out how serious the situation is by considering their behaviors if they haven't been themselves lately. Then after that, after we talk, and if they open up, then that's amazing. And if they don't, I would still keep a close watch on them. I might report something on Fortify Florida. That's like an anonymous issuing site. So if you think there's any danger to yourself or someone else, you can report there anonymously. Or if they open up, comfort them through it, like you guys said before, and ultimately talk to a trusted adult that both of you guys trust.
Gabrielle, you can take scenario 4, which is a friend tells you my life would be easier if I wasn't here, but if I tell an adult, they'll overreact.
Firstly, for something like this, you should probably stay calm and listen and let them talk without interrupting or judging, and saying something like you're sorry that they're feeling that way and that what they're saying sounds kind of heavy. And this helps them feel more heard. Afterwards, you can show that you care, and remind them that they are not alone, saying something simple as, I care about you and I don't want you to go through this by yourself. And this reinforces trust and lets them know that you're on their side. Then you should probably encourage them to get help, because this is something tough that they're saying. They do say that adults might overreact, but you can explain to them that adults can help them feel safe and not get them in trouble. And last but not least, make sure that you don't keep this a secret. You can't promise secrecy when safety is at risk. And make sure to stay with them and follow up to see how they're doing afterwards.
Thank you, Gabrielle. So, in most of these situations, it seems that there are some common steps that we can take. The first thing you want to do is think about what emotions your friend in that situation might be feeling. Are they scared, ashamed, hopeless, or just looking for someone to listen? Then discuss what's one compassionate thing you could say in that moment. Remember, it's not about finding the perfect words, it's about showing empathy and care. Next, talk about what you would decide to reach out to help and who you would turn to. This could be a trusted adult, school counselor, or another resource like Fortify Florida, like Taylor mentioned. Finally, think about how you could follow up afterwards. Maybe checking in with a quick text, a conversation at school, or making sure they know you still care.
Let's highlight a few important points from those conversations. First, empathy comes first. Listening, staying calm, and letting your friend know that they are not alone can make a huge difference. Second, safety over secrecy. If someone's life or safety could be at risk, it's never wrong to reach out for help, even if your friend asked you not to. Third, actions matter. That means telling a trusted adult, counselor, or using a crisis resource. You don't have to handle this alone, nor are you expected to. And finally, follow-up counts. Check in with your friend and remind them you care, and show them that you're still here for them. So to wrap up, I want you to think about this question. What did you learn about the difference between being a good friend and being the only support? And then I'm going to hand it off to Gabrielle, our secretary, for part 5, which is seeking help, available resources, and closing.
Perfect, thank you. So lastly, let's look at available resources and then close. So supporting someone in a crisis is never something that you should do alone. And reaching out for help doesn't mean that you've broken trust. It means that you're taking the right steps to keep your friend safe. In this final section, we'll cover where to turn for help and how to keep your friend connected to trusted adults and professional resources, and what ongoing support can look like after disclosure. So first, let's take a look at available resources. So if you ever feel overwhelmed, anxious, or scared, you can text HOME or OLA to 741-741, and you'll be connected right away with a volunteer crisis counselor. They'll listen without judgment, and it's free, confidential, and available 24/7. Even when you're not in danger, this is a great place to start to talk. Next, if you can also call or text 988, which is a suicide and crisis hotline. It's for anyone who's struggling, not just people in immediate crisis. You can call for yourself, or even if you're worried about a friend. If you'd rather talk to someone who's your own age, you can reach out to the teen line, and you can text teen to 839-863, or call 800-852-8336 between 6 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. And finally, if you hear or see something that worries you, you can, or something like a friend talking about suicide, self-harm, or even violence, you can use the Say Something anonymous reporting system. All right, and here's our closing message for today. True friendship isn't about keeping secrets. It's about protecting each other even when it's uncomfortable. When you look out for someone's safety, you're showing the strongest kind of loyalty there is. And lastly, you don't need to be an expert or counselor. You just need to know what to do and who to call, whether it means saying, I care too much about you to keep this to myself, or reaching out to the resources that we provided in the slide prior. So we want to leave you guys with some reflection questions to think about. So we're going to take a few minutes to reflect on these questions. Take this time to answer these questions. There's no right or wrong answers. These reflections are about building habits to help you and your friends stay safe. And for the first question, what does genuine friendship look like when someone's safety is at risk? Think beyond loyalty as secrecy. Consider what it means to care enough to act, to balance honesty with compassion, and to protect someone even when it's hard. So could one of the leadership answer this question, this first one?
For the first one, genuine friendship, when you're someone's safety at risk, would be to help that person get the help that they need and to make sure that they get back into a safe situation. If a friend tells you that they plan on committing suicide, you need to make sure that you ask for help, and whether it be telling a trusted adult or even an anonymous app, that way you can make sure that you put your friend out of danger and make sure that they stay safe.
Perfect, thank you, Layla. For our second question, what is an action that you can do differently after today's session? So you can pick something small or concrete. It could be saving a crisis line to your phone, telling a trusted adult sooner, or practicing the words you'd use if a friend confessed something scary. Concrete changes are the easiest to do. So I'm going to answer this one. Something that I can do differently for this session, after this session, is, like I said, save one of the phone numbers so that I can reach out for help if my friend or I need any help. And lastly, for the third question, who are 3 trusted individuals or resources I can reach out to if I need help? Name people and services you genuinely feel you could use or contact. This could be parents, coaches, or school counselor, a close teacher, or one of the resources we provided, whatever fits you. And if you can't think of any, that's all right. You can always refer back to our slideshow or use this as an action item to think of some. So would one of the leadership like to mention there? trusted.
Sure. I can go, and then Taylor, you can go too if you want. So 3 trusted individuals or resources that I personally know I can reach out to. I know my family is a huge one, so I would probably reach out to my mom or my dad. If I was in a school situation, I know that our counselors and our on-site therapists are equipped to handle those situations, so I would probably reach out to one of them. And then if it was kind of a more ambiguous situation where it wasn't in school and they didn't know my parents, I might look for one of those anonymous reporting sites so that I know I'm reaching out to someone who has the capability of helping, but also that's trusted by not just me, but also like trusted as an agency to help.
Yeah, and great answer. My 3 would probably be 1. I go to public school, so we don't really have any school therapists or any counselors that are specifically for health or mental health. So I would reach out to a teacher that I know really well and I know will support me, because the teachers understand what kind of workload that could happen. Some sort of workload that can contribute to the pressures of mental health. And so they would have a better understanding of how to help ease that pressure slightly. So I believe that would help. Also, if I have a coach at my studio that I go to, and they have a lot of experience, helping kids. I go to a Taekwondo studio, and so our whole message is to fight bullying and work on improving mental health. And so I would definitely rely on people who have experience with dealing with those kinds of situations, because they would know what to say. Also, if I was going to report to one of the resources that we provided, I would definitely talk to the teen helpline, because they have a more approachable and more relatable perspective on the struggles of mental health in teens.
Perfect. Thank you, board. All right. And last but not least, we wanted to finally mention that you are not alone and that your voice matters and your care makes a difference. Together, we can create a culture where reaching out for help is a sign of strength, and where no one has to face their struggles in silence. Be the friend who listens, be the friend who acts. And we want to thank you for listening to our presentation.
If you guys have any questions, I know they have the Q&A in the chat, so feel free to ask questions in there. And if you think of questions later, you can email us at mindsovermatter2021@gmail.com. And you could also contact us through our website. And if you're interested in starting a club or volunteer opportunities, feel free to go to our website as well. We have a lot of different events and opportunities on there. And now I'm going to pass it to the Minds Out Loud leadership for Q&A.
Thank you, Minds Over Matter, for the amazing presentation. Now we'll go ahead and ask our speakers questions from the Q&A form now. If you still have any questions that come up during, feel free to submit the form still. So the first question is, what are some helpful ways you found to support your friends when they're struggling?
So I can take this. So personally, when I've experienced a friend coming to me when they're struggling, I really like to first tell them, like, thank you for trusting me, because it is a really big step for them to tell anyone, and for you to be that person that they tell is a really big kind of responsibility, but it's also a really big showing of trust. So I first thank them for opening up to me. And then to show that I care, I genuinely listen to them. I make sure that they're being heard, and that I tell them that their voice matters and what they're saying matters. Because too often in these scenarios, my friends have in the past been dismissed. So it's really important to me that I validate their feelings. And then I often bring up, kind of slowly within that conversation, getting support and adding more support. And I always do it in a way that's more not you're the problem, but let's fix this together, or let's help each other. And I find that that is kind of the method that works for me the most. And if anyone else wants to answer on the board, please do.
Yeah, for sure. Like the first thing you want to do when you have a friend tell you that is to make them feel supported and to make sure that they know that they can trust you by just saying a small sentence like, "Thank you for sharing that with me," or like, "Thank you for sharing that with me" is probably the best thing that you could say in that scenario. And then you want to first try to explore options with your friend. Give them the option of reaching out to an adult on their own because obviously that's going to feel more comfortable for them. You probably want to present some of the advantages of that and let them know that by talking to a trusted adult, they can get the help they need to move past those feelings. And if you feel that the situation is severe and your friend refuses to reach out to an adult, then that is a case where you would have to reach out to an adult yourself because at the end of the day, while having trust with your friend and loyalty is important to a friendship, loyalty is not loyalty if your friend is in danger. So reaching out to that adult is one of the most important things you could do in that situation, as well as making sure that you're empathetic towards your friend and making sure that they feel heard.
Yeah, and building on what they say, make sure you're following up and checking in on your friend days or weeks after they confess to you, because in that way, you're not just dismissing what they said, having a long, lengthy conversation about it, and then pretending it never happened. That's not going to make them feel validated. That's probably going to make them feel even worse and feel like they had their trust broken if you don't seem like you care after the initial conversation. So make sure you're following up and checking in on them.
Okay, those are all amazing answers. The next question is, do you have any tips for managing your own self-care when supporting or advocating for others?
I would definitely have some tips for that. I would say don't make your whole life about helping others. Take breaks if you need to, or don't try to limit yourself to how much pressure you're taking from this. Help your friend 1 week, 1 day, or 2 days a week, and keep some time for yourself because that pressure can really build up, and that pressure is what can take over your own mind. And so I would definitely do that. And think of own relaxing ways to help yourself over the weekends. Take time for just yourself without thinking about others sometimes, like reading or doing any other exercises that you enjoy.
Yeah, I'm going to add on to that. I think especially as high schoolers, it's really easy to get absorbed into these situations, which is a lot of times not good for our own mental health. So I find that it's really important. And that's another aspect of why talking to a trusted adult is really important, so that you're not kind of carrying this burden by yourself. You have another person and making sure that you have someone to talk to as well. It's important that the person who confessed has someone to talk to, but this could also hurt you in a way. It could make you feel scared, cause feelings happening within yourself. And so to make sure that you have someone safe to talk to and you are taking care of yourself, whether it be through hobbies, hanging out with friends, or just making sure that you get some of that time away from kind of those feelings, it's really important that you're also taking care of your own self during this process.
Yeah, just to reiterate what Sarah said, it is not your job to fix your friend. Obviously, you want to be there for your friend, you want to be supportive, but at the end of the day, you are not a mental health professional. It is not your responsibility to try to spend all your time getting your friend through whatever they're going through. And that's why you talk to a trusted adult. A trusted adult could actually get your friend the help they need from someone who knows what they're doing and has that experience and could truly help your friend through that situation. While obviously everyone likes to think they can help their friends and you want to support them, sometimes people get into situations where you cannot provide them with the support that they need. And while it's important to be empathetic and to be kind to your friend and to check up on them, it is not your job to try to like help your friend get rid of those thoughts because you're not a professional. Though obviously you still want to stay empathetic towards them and make sure that you prioritize your self-care. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're still hanging out with friends, doing things that you enjoy. That should not become your life. That's why you talk to a trusted adult.
Adding on to what Layla and Sarah said, I think jumping off the point that you are not there to be the one to fix the problem, you can always refer back to the available resources that we presented in our slideshow when times are right.
Thank you. And the last question will be, how would you reach out to a friend if they're being distant and you're worried about their mental health?
So the first thing that I would do is, obviously, if this is a friend that you see in person, having the conversations in person, I personally think is important because face-to-face connection just makes it feel smoother and easier. Though if your friend is someone that you can't see in person often, then you may want to reach out to them through a short text and being like, hey, I noticed that you seem a little off lately. What's up? So you just want to give your friend the opportunity to share. And sometimes they're not going to want to share, and that's okay. Though it's important to be there for your friend and try to give them support if you think that they need it.
Yeah, I would just want to add on to that. I think it's really important to kind of be direct about it. Kind of just watching them drift farther and farther away, but not saying anything is what is really dangerous in a lot of situations. So what I've found best is to call them if you don't see them very often, to get on the phone and actually speak to them. Or if they're not answering calls, text them. Just make sure you get out to them and you reach out to them. And not even being so direct, like, oh, are you having thoughts like this? But hey, I've been thinking about you recently. I feel like I haven't seen you a lot. Is something going on? Like, I just want to make sure you're okay. I'm really like, I want to hang out with you, whatever. But kind of taking that step to make them know that you're there for them, you're thinking about them, and you are always here to listen, or you're always here to make sure that they're okay. That's the best thing you can do, because that's making yourself a safe space for these confessions and conversations to take place. And those are the facilitators of getting help. So it's really, really important that you establish kind of that environment where it's like, hey, if you need to talk to someone who you can trust me, talk to me, and I will help you get resources. Or if you're feeling kind of distant, or you don't even know what's going on in your personal life, I'm here to listen. It's just a really good way of kind of setting that intention forward. And it doesn't even have to be that direct. It could just be, hey, how are you? I've been thinking about you recently. I want to hang out.
Since there are no more questions, we'd like to thank all of you and our guest speakers for joining us tonight. Please fill out the feedback form in the chat to let us know how we did and to help us improve for future sessions. Visit our website to join our future monthly workshops, and thank you for joining.